We're going to learn about dividing polynomials. We are going to work in your book on sections 5.6 on page 465, and we're going to do problem numbers 2 through 20 even. So we're going to start off with problem number 2. And just as a heads up, problem numbers 2 and 4 are just going to be review problems for sections 5.1 and 5.2. So on number 2, you've got 20a to the 7th over 5a to the 5th. So 5 and 20 will simplify to be a 4, and the 4 goes in the numerator because 20 was the bigger number. And then you've got a to the 7th divided by a to the 5th. Well, that gives you an a squared on top because 7 was larger than 5. So remember, do not put your answer over 1. You want it just to be 4a squared because that is in the simplest form. Number 4, we have 42 x5 y2 over 6 x3y. Remember, it's always good to draw your 1 if it's not written on any of your exponents. 6 goes into 42 7 times. X to the 5 divided by x to the 3. Remember, when you divide your bases, you're going to subtract those exponents. So that gives you an x squared on top. And then y squared divided by y to the 1 is just y, because 2 minus 1 gives you that understood 1. You do not have to write that 1 up there, but if you want to, you can. Moving on to problem number 6. 3x minus 6 divided by 3. So let's do a little side note real quick. Let's say we're adding 1/5 and 2/5. To add those together, to add those together, you would add the 1 and the 2 in your numerators, and you would keep the same denominator to get 3 over 5. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to bringing our problem from this step to this step. Notice how you've got 2 numbers in your numerator all over the same denominator. And notice that in the previous step, they've got the 1 over 5 here, and they have the 2 over 5 here. So we're going to separate number 6 to be 3x over 3 and that negative 6 over 3. Okay, and we can do that because of what I just showed you right here. So now you simplify. 3 goes into 3 one time, leaving you with just an x, and then 3 goes into 6 two times, which leaves you with a minus 2 right here. So our final answer is x minus 2. Problem number 8, 10m squared plus 5m over 5. So again, we're going to separate it to where we have each numerator over that denominator of 5. So 10m squared over 5 plus 5m over 5. So 5 goes into 10 two times. 5 goes into 5 one time. So that leaves you with 2m squared plus m. You can write the 1 in front of the m if you would like. Problem number 10. You have 9x to the 3rd plus 12x squared over 3x. So that gives me a 9x to the 3rd over 3x plus a 12x squared over 3x. Well, that 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then you've got an x to the 3rd over an x. Remember that x has an understood exponent of 1. 3 minus 1 gives us 2. so that means we have 3x squared. And then 3 goes into 12 4 times. And then x squared divided by x. Remember, this has a 1. 2 minus 1 gives you 1. So this is just an x, or you can write x to the first if you want. Okay, now let's look at problem number 12. Number 12 is a little tricky because of all of the negatives you've got going on, okay? So we have 20b to the third minus 25b squared all over negative 5b. So we're going to rewrite this as 20b to the third over negative 5b minus 25b squared over negative 5b. So 20 divided by negative 5 is a negative 4. B to the third divided by a b to the first is going to give me a b squared. Now notice here this is a negative 25. So negative 25 divided by negative 5 is going to give me a positive 5. B squared divided by a b to the first is just going to give us a b. Number 14, we have 21x to the 5 minus 28x to the 4 plus 14x to the third all over 7x. So we're going to rewrite this. So 7 goes into 21 3 times. X to the fifth divided by x to the first is going to be x to the fourth. I'm going to go ahead and draw all of my ones here. It's a good idea to do, guys, that way you don't forget. So anytime you have just a variable and you don't have any exponent written, just go ahead and write that 1 on everything. So negative 28 divided by 7 is negative 4. And then x to the fourth divided by x is an x to the third. Then 7 goes into 14 2 times. X to the 3 divided by x to the 1 is x squared. And guys, if you ever want to check your answers, all you have to do is just take whatever number you divided by and multiply it by your answer. So if when you multiply that by your answer you get what you started with, then you did it correctly. So that could be something to keep in mind as well in regards to checking your answers. So on number 16, 2t to the fifth minus 12t to the third plus 2t squared all over 2t squared. So 2t to the fifth over 2t squared minus 12t to the third over 2t squared plus 2t squared over 2t squared. So notice over here that these 2's are going to cancel, and t to the fifth divided by t squared is going to give us a t to the third. Then you have negative 12 divided by 2, which gives you a negative 6. T to the third divided by t squared is t, or you can write it as t to the first. It does not matter. Plus, well, notice here that these 2's cancel and these t squareds cancel. Okay? So think about it. They don't just cancel. If you have 2 divided by 2, that answer would give you a 1. The only reason I don't write it here is because there's an understood 1 in front of that t to the third. That's why I didn't write it, okay? So whenever everything is canceled, meaning you've got something divided by itself. Your answer for that one part is going to be a 1. Okay? So when everything cancels, it doesn't just go away, everything becomes a 1. Problem number 18. I've got 16a to the third b squared minus 4a squared b squared plus, oh no, sorry guys, let me try that one more time. 16a to the third b squared minus 4a squared b squared plus 8a squared b to the third over 4a squared b squared. So we're going to write everything over that same denominator. So 4 goes into 16 4 times. A to the 3 divided by a squared. 3 minus 2 is 1, so you have an a with an exponent of 1. Again, you don't have to write it, but you can. And then b squared divided by b squared. Remember, those cancel. Minus, well, you've got 4a squared b squared over 4a squared b squared. So all of that is going to cancel and give us just a 1. Remember, when you have something divided by exactly itself, you're going to get a 1. Plus 4 goes into 8 2 times. The a's are going to cancel. B to the third divided by b squared is going to give us just a b. You can take this one step further if you would like, and you could have 4a plus 2b minus 1 if you wanted to put it in that absolute alphabetical order. Constants always go at the end. So either one of these would work. Okay? Number 20, we have 16m3n3 plus 24m squared n squared minus 40mn cubed, all over 8mn squared. So we're going to go ahead and write all of this over that same denominator. So 8 goes into 16 2 times. You've got an m to the third over an m to the 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2, so that gives you an m squared. N to the 3 divided by n squared is n or n to the first. Either one works. 8 goes into 24 3 times. M squared divided by an m to the first is going to leave you with an m to the first. Those n squareds are going to cancel. Minus 8 goes into 45 times. The m's cancel, and you're left with just an n. Okay? Now that's going to conclude our video on how to divide polynomials. I hope that you found this helpful, and I wish you the best of luck.